We're going to now move to a panel, and this is going to be absolutely fabulously fascinating because we are going to bring up some of the most experienced and smartest business brains in the industry. This is going to be a brain exercise. A brain trust will be sitting in these chairs, and I'm going to ask a special person to come up and introduce the panel and to moderate the panel session, and that's Christian Dawson. Christian is the co-founder of OpenEye Advisors, a growth boutique that specializes in the cloud and cloud ecosystem industry, helping people to grow their businesses, and that means navigating change, transformation, and helping offer a better customer experience to partners' customers. Christian Dawson, please come and join me on stage.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's all yours.
I appreciate it. Fantastic. Thanks so much for all your help. And thank you all for joining us for the last session of the day. I really appreciate it. I'm also very excited to have gotten to follow the basis for the Lords of Uptime. I hope you guys were able to see the concert last night. It was fantastic. So yes, I do growth consulting for the industry, so I am very excited to be able to have a panel of experts that are going to talk to us about how you grow in this industry. One quick second, I wanted to explain to you what the purpose of the panel is before I bring up my panelists. This is the first year that we've called ourselves CloudFest instead of WHD or World Hosting Days. Everybody that I'm going to bring up in just a second is a web hosting provider. The name change was an acknowledgement that the ecosystem is not driven by the web hosting provider as the core growth motivator right now, that it's a much larger ecosystem. And in order to succeed, you need to find the right place within that ecosystem. We're going to find out what some of those places for growth are today. So I'm going to go ahead and move to my moderation spot right here, and I'm going to bring up each of our panelists. Could I have Jonas Danins join us? Yusuf Narachman, Andreas Palm, Igor Franco, and Mitch Haber. So if you guys can slide on in. We're going to talk about where the growth opportunities are in the web hosting market right now. And I'm extremely excited that we've got some good geographic diversity on this panel as well. So when we're answering the question of where the growth opportunities are, we're really talking about worldwide. And so only a couple of these questions am I going to ask us to go down the line and have everybody answer. Besides that, it's sort of like whoever has an answer can go ahead and do it. But I'd like everybody just to quickly tell us who you are, where you're from, and what geographic areas you serve. And if you could start us out, I'd appreciate it.
Mitch Haber. I head up corporate strategy and partnerships for Endurance International Group. We are a web hosting company based out of Burlington, Massachusetts. We have facilities worldwide, and some of our key brands include Bluehost, HostGator, and we also own a large email marketing company called Constant Contact.
Hi, my name is Igor Franco. I'm from Brazil. Yes, I heard some jokes about the 7-1, I know. I run Local Web, which is the largest hosting company in Brazil. Actually, we have retail business, and also we have corporative business, marketing cloud business, and also e-commerce business.
Andreas Palm, I'm the Managing Director of GoDaddy in EMEA. We're running, obviously, the GoDaddy brand. That's my colleague Stefano Maruzzi, but we also have a couple of other brands in EMEA. GoDaddy, obviously present worldwide, also on some of the other diverse locations. We do also have Host Europe, we have Domain Factory, we have 123reg in the UK, so a couple of other strong brands within EMEA.
Yusuf, coming from the other part of the world. I'm coming from Indonesia. We are running a small hosting business, but in our country, we become the largest one. And also we have, we are ICANN accredited registrar in Indonesia. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Jonas Danens. I'm the founder of Combel. So Combel Group is actually currently actively in Belgium, Netherlands, Denmark, and a little bit Sweden. We are a multi-brand company, so Combel is one of the biggest brands, but also in Denmark we have Uno Euro, Dendomain, and Coronet, some other brands over there. Actually, in the Netherlands, we have Byte, a specific e-commerce brand, and I'm currently also still the largest shareholder of Sentia Group. Sentia Group is also in those type of countries largest managed hosting company. So a lot of experience in hosting itself, much more focused currently still about the Combel business, but still with an eye extra also on the enterprise managed hosting business.
Fantastic. So what we've got here is some of the biggest business leaders in the web hosting industry worldwide. And we are sitting at the beginning of 2018. And this is a very different landscape than landscapes that we have seen in years past. So what I'm really looking to start out by is to explore what you're expecting the big trend in the cloud and hosting evolution to be in 2018. In other words, what's the big story for the coming year? And you know what? This is something that's important enough that I'm again going to see if everybody has their own take on what the big story is going to be. But anybody who'd like to start us out, go ahead.
I have a mic. I'm happy to start.
You have the mic. Let's go for it.
Obviously, growth is not as easy anymore, and that's also why we rebranded to CloudFest, because in the end, it's broader, and growth in a mature market is not coming by itself. So Indonesia is probably super easy because it's still emerging, growing, but it's not as easy in the already mature markets. What I see as two major trends is consolidation that will continue. And in my opinion, it's super important on how to integrate. If you consolidate for the sake of consolidation, that's not it. You need to integrate, you need to bring stuff together, and you need to come to joint common platforms. And Endurance is definitely a multi-brand world. We are doing multi-brand, and it's not completely trivial. There is no silver bullet yet. I think GoDaddy has come very close to integrating nicely and fast, but it's not completely resolved yet. So that's definitely one big trend. The second trend in a more commoditized market, and in the end, sorry, we're talking about commodities here, is how do I differentiate? What's the differentiation I do? And the differentiation for me is customer service. I need to deliver great customer service, and I have a couple of people back there who really live and breathe that every single day. Listen to the customer. Listen to what your customer wants and deliver on that, be it on the product quality, on stability, but mainly, in my opinion, on customer service.
That's great.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Andreas. I think platform consolidation is going to be critical. I also think that what's happening right now in the cloud space is a really sort of a confluence of events that's forcing us to change and rethink the way we go to market. You see one, democratization of innovation by access to public cloud solutions, that there's an incredible influx of new technology innovation targeting small businesses, because we're in the small business space. I also think it's also adoption, something that we've been waiting for a long time. If I remember, I started at Endurance 18 years ago when we were just getting started, and when we were out there raising money, we had this business model that was based on what we called thin edge of the wedge. The idea being that we would penetrate a small business relationship with web hosting, but over time we'd be able to increase the average revenue per subscriber by integrating and selling additional products and services that the small businesses would need. But we haven't been able to do that effectively because there wasn't adoption yet. It was challenging from a technology perspective to actually do the integration. There was no seamless contextual ability to actually solution. I think what's happening right now is adoption largely being driven by some of the solution providers out there in the email space. If you look at G Suite, Office 365, I think small businesses now are using the cloud. They're thinking about the cloud. They're thinking more about web presence. And I think that that's forcing us to really become solution providers, moving away from sort of the traditional hosting environment to creating value-added solutions. And I think you're going to see increasing trends towards that end.
Okay. Okay, great.
If we could split the world in two pieces, right, in two profiles, I would say that in the entrepreneurship side, we should take a look on social media increase. Youssef said that today when we were discussing about this panel, right? So basically, this is a trend that we should watch carefully at that side. The other side is the small developers. So at that, for that profile, we should take a look on how those guys are increasing in the utilization of platform as a service, or even more advanced stuff like serverless, like blockchain, I don't know. So basically, there are some big trends that we should take a look this year and forward.
Do you have some insights there as well?
Well, in my experience in Indonesia, we are not fighting against other hosting company, but we are fighting against social media, because currently the SMB is looking the easier way to get online, and they see that social media, Google business listing is the easiest way to get their business online. So, getting business website, e-commerce, or business email is on the last of their list to get online now. So it is the one of the biggest challenges we're facing in Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting, very useful.
I think I don't have to add anything about that. I just everything has been said. Consolidation is a big trend. You have to integrate definitely, otherwise you will not have any technology advantage in the future. But I think really that a lot of in the past it were a lot of just small websites and that's it. And now websites are becoming more and more applications, are becoming e-commerce sites, are becoming really integrations with other B2B applications itself. And you have to be able to be aware that you have a solution for that. And it's becoming more and more PaaS, more and more platform as a service instead of just an infrastructure as a service. And you have a lot of PaaS providers, like actually Facebook is a PaaS provider in certain instance, but like specific applications that are just running their own service, and they don't need any website at all because it's running on that kind of application. So you really need to make sure that you would have kind of a customer experience, extra SaaS tools in the future to add to your current customer base. Otherwise, you would have no interest anymore for the SMBs in the future, I think.
Okay, so you guys have set a really interesting landscape here, where we're thinking about what consolidation brings to the industry, where we're thinking about what new tools for integration and usability bring to us, where we're looking at a need for more customer service, where we see more threats from social media. And so I've got a big question for you guys that I think everybody wants to know the answer to. The simple question, and I'm not going to let you get away with a simple answer. The simple question is the hosting industry still profitable? But this is not a binary answer, right? There are parts that are, and there are parts that are not. So I want some insights from you guys about what are the growth opportunities here, and what's really flat or worse.
Maybe I think the hosting industry is definitely profitable, but you can only be profitable if it's scalable, if you have enough scale. So I see a lot of small hosting companies in Europe which we would like to acquire and so on, and I see a lot of hosting companies that are absolutely not profitable because they are investing in sometimes new stuff, but with that kind of small scale, it's absolutely not possible to be profitable anymore. So, or you have to focus on a specific niche, and you could be very profitable on that kind of niche, and you could be big in that. But if you would be a very broad hosting provider, it's absolutely almost impossible to be profitable on a very small scale. So that definitely leads to consolidation, and that's the thing. I think your second question was.
So, yes, what are the flat parts of the industry, but what are the growth opportunities?
Yeah, so what I see as flat or a little bit declining is just if you are not innovating anything. If you're just milking the cow, having just website hosting solutions like you provided in 99, then you're just doing nothing and investing nothing, and maybe you have then a profitable business, but a profitable declining business, and then you really should think about your business itself. But if you are investing in new stuff, then you really would be growing, but in niches, or they have to be big.
Right. Okay.
I agree. If you invest smartly, you can definitely be profitable. There is profitable players today. I mean, you've seen the GoDaddy numbers. We are growing, we are profitable, and it's working out.
Yep.
If you invest smartly in the right products, and if you keep your customers happy, not only with the right products, but again, and I need to make that point again, with the right customer service. I have brands that have a net promoter score of 60 plus. So that's a 60 NPS. And this is where you're profitable, because the customers will never go away. They trust you implicitly, but they also depend on you. It's a big responsibility. Mm-hmm. And if you deliver that, customers are willing to pay. They're even willing to pay a premium, and they're willing to pay a little more, and then you're definitely profitable. But you need to deliver on what you promise.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. But I do think that if you don't move forward, if we don't innovate, if we don't start providing a real value add to our customers, it won't be profitable for very much longer. I think that you're seeing a lot of movement towards public cloud infrastructures. I think that that's something that we have to look out for. We're all in the data center business. We all have a lot of capital that we've been investing in that. But I think more and more you're seeing components of our infrastructure move to the public cloud. I think that that's a potential opportunity, and we deploy resources more towards solutioning. I think understanding customers, understanding the customer life cycle, being able to think about the customer from a more vertical perspective is an opportunity. Like I said earlier, customers expect more from us. Back in the day, websites was just really synonymous with a web presence. It was a shingle that you put on your door. It's all you really needed was a website. You weren't really expecting to get very much out of it. I think there are multiple points of presence on the web that we're competing with. We talked about platforms, Facebook, directories, listing services. Mm-hmm. If you look at some of the markets that we're in, you mentioned Indonesia, we're very active in the Indian market. We've seen a lot of movement in terms of adoption of new technology, but a lot of that technology has bypassed the websites altogether. Customers have gone from domains and emails straight to Facebook. So in order for us to be competitive, to really drive value, we need to create a holistic web presence experience for our customers beyond the website. And to me, that's the very essence of profitability going forward.
I think that's a tremendously good insight, and it's a good bridge to what I'd like to explore a little bit next. You were talking about innovating, needing to innovate, and I acknowledge that what it is people tend to be talking about is business innovation and being able to deliver to the end customer, that type of innovation. But there's also technical innovation that I think people have questions about, and I acknowledge that we're business leaders here, and that we didn't bring up CIOs and CTOs, but many of you work with CIOs and CTOs and or manage them. And so what should the IT managers and the CIOs be adjusting their strategies to meet those types of needs for customers in today's environment?
I think that everything starts by architecture. Architecture innovation is the key, because I have seen many enterprise CIOs, CTOs trying to move to the cloud and failing because basically they are starting by legacy systems or monoliths or something that is not so suitable for cloud environments. So basically the transformation, in my opinion, should start by transforming and planning a very good strategy in terms of architecture. Start everything that is new on the cloud, not try to move what you have and transform what you have to cloud. So basically, this is I would say that the fundamentals of the cloud adoption.
One more point, in my opinion, is listening to the customer again and bridging that gap between the customer and the CIO, CTOs is my job in the end, to tell them what my customers really want and want to use. If you have a very sexy and super nice solution built by a CTO who's super smart, but the customers don't use it or they're not willing to pay for it, then it doesn't work. So you need to listen to what the customers really want and then deliver on it. And sometimes in some of the emerging markets, it's definitely educating the market. I just heard a story about someone in India who bought a .com domain and was super unhappy that there was no website attached, that it didn't work, and that he wasn't instantly successful on the web. Because obviously Endurance and also GoDaddy tell you, hey, you're successful on the web if you buy from us. It's not just a .com, it's more, and that's educating the market to a degree, and then building stuff that the customers really want.
So, anybody else have any insights there? Or should I move on to diving deeper into emerging markets? That's a good place to start because we do have a geographically diverse panel.
There's growth.
What's that?
There's growth.
There's growth. Right? Well, let's talk about what markets excite us. Do any of you have insights into what markets in particular are exciting you right now?
Your question is?
Geographic markets that are exciting you right now.
Indonesia.
Geographic markets that are exciting you right now. Places, geographic areas with the most growth opportunity right now.
Okay. Let's talk about Indonesia, right?
That's great. Great. Let's talk about Indonesia.
Indonesia is not growing that much because I'm sitting here with Endurance and GoDaddy. So please don't come to Indonesia. No, I mean, we're still in a very early stage of growing. I heard from insights from some GoDaddy guys that GoDaddy consider Indonesia is not mature enough. That is completely right. And we grow like the opposite way. Like we said, probably in Europe or America, one of the top lists is having a website or a business email. While in Indonesia, now going the opposite way. Everybody choose to have easier way to have online presence on Facebook. But yes, the market is still growing tremendously. We even have 25% year-on-year growth based on our account, active account. That's probably the condition in Indonesia.
Great. Other geographic markets that we want to highlight as exciting opportunities?
In Brazil particularly, we are just finished to cross a huge crisis that we got since 2015. Now we are expecting this year to grow. The GDP grows around 2 or 3%, which is really good. So the expectation is it's amazing. We expect to have some grow in hosting market, but we still putting a lot of effort on MAO or site builder or in other products that we are still growing a lot, much higher than the GDP or the inflation and etc. So these are the opportunities that we still having in Brazil.
That's great. So I want to build again, then we'll shift unless somebody has some other market they want to talk about. One of the things that you had just said, Andreas, was that one of the challenges that this industry faces is around education and use of the products that we're having. I want to flip that and see if anybody has any success stories where we think we're doing a better job of education, of teaching people how to use our products, and how we're winning those battles. What are you excited about when it comes to customer enablement?
If it's my question, I'm happy to answer.
No, it's anybody's question, and maybe the answer is that we've still got a lot of work to do. And if so, let's hear that. maybe we still have a lot of work to do.
The answer is the whole industry needs to listen to the customers and work on that. The success story or the stuff I'm proud of is my care people, the people who sit on the phone line and educate the people and not try to push something down their throat or smuggle stuff into their shopping basket, but to really be an advisor and help them. And you see that if you have a 60 plus NPS, customers do trust you and they come to you and they come back and they buy repeatedly. At the same time, if you're trying to cheat them or smuggle stuff into their shopping basket, it doesn't work, at least not long term. And that's true for the GoDaddy brand, where we try to be trusted advisors. It's also true for the other EMEA brands that GoDaddy runs, where we really want to help the customer find the right product and advise them on getting the right stuff. And that's my success story, where I'm super proud of all the care people we have who do that every single day on the phone.
And Mitch was saying that there was a heavy focus on customer service. It may be because people will buy a domain name and say, where's the website associated with it? Is that accurate?
Right, and I mean, I also think there's another element here, and you know, we're talking about cloud, and we're talking about opportunities, and so how do we actually think about customer service as it relates to a cloud infrastructure and all the benefits that you can actually get from a cloud infrastructure? And when you know, we're a scale operator, so how do you actually provide a level of service at scale that's meaningful to the customers? And really what it boils down to is the ability to actually focus in on verticals, on customer lifecycle management, understanding as much as we can who the customer, who they are, where they are in their life cycle, what are their challenges. And I think cloud infrastructure, machine learning capabilities allows us more insight into customer profile, where they are in their life cycle, and that will help us, you know, as we think about sort of growing into a cloud environment, facilitate customer support.
That's helpful. Does that sometimes include looking at a big data analytics, or at least doing a deeper dive into your customer KPIs than maybe? Are those things more of a focus now than they have been in past years?
As long as you're GDPR compliant.
Hey, that's a good answer. Okay. Well, when people came here to talk about what emerging trends are, I think many people probably assumed we were talking about things like consolidation and customer service. But some people might have also been saying, gosh, I hope I hear about the Internet of Things and blockchain and artificial intelligence and stuff like that. What emerging technologies should we be paying attention to in the web hosting industry?
I think, okay, you have a lot of cool new names and so on, but
right.
I think in the pure web hosting industry, it's just the growth of the CMSs, the growth of WordPress, the growth of Drupal, the growth of Magento. This is really driving growth also for us as a hosting industry. If you can manage that in a good way. So if you are able to also give a platform for your customers that's able to really add some resources, some dedicated resources to your customers. Try to really bridge the gap between the small shared hosting package and the cloud server. And if you can bridge that gap, then you're able to also be successful on that growth too. So actually, I see just a trend in bigger resources for just normal websites. And that's more because of platforms. CMSs are growing and need to have more resources.
So, stick to basics, service the customer.
Well, the thing is, we can talk with many nice stuff, but okay, you have all the rest, but the basic stuff, if you do that very good, if you really make sure that everything is running smoothly for the website, but not for the website, growing opportunity of the customer itself, everything goes fine.
Great. Any other insights on emerging markets? Or do we all agree with that?
Not related to web hosting. What we have seen there, it's for that part of the world which is more developers. they are very interested about multi-cloud purpose and brokerage services. This is something that is still that is just in the beginning, and we are investing a little in the corporate side of the business to capture more opportunities on that.
Great. Okay. Well, that's insightful. I think now it's time for us to put on our, pull out our crystal balls and see if we can do some forecasting. I want to see if any of you can give me your insights on where you think the hosting industry is going to be in 5 years. In fact, you know what? I would like to put everybody on the spot. I want to get your 5-year perspective on where the industry is going to go.
So I think it's a summary of some of the things that I've been talking about. So I think we're going to see a steady evolution away from what has traditionally been web hosting, which is sort of the traditional data center, speeds and feeds, we call it, storage solution, as we evolve into more solutioning. Depending on who our target markets are and what the demographics are, in order for us to be successful, we're going to have to incorporate additional solutions beyond what is traditional web hosting. That means incorporating all the other points of presence that are becoming more and more available, understanding sort of where the trending is going. I mean, so incorporating, so one question you had asked about emerging markets, something really interesting. So we're active in India. We had purchased HostGator, and that gave us a presence in India years ago, and I took some time to actually oversee that business unit, thinking that we'd be able to apply some of the same, methodologies and thought process to the go-to-market strategies that we have in the U.S. I think that's completely wrong. We learned, through some hard lessons that we need to sort of think about what is truly local and incorporate that into a viable go-to-market strategy. One of the technologies that really was, interesting was a company called Just Dial. I mean, some folks here might know what Just Dial is, which really sort of is a huge public company out of India that is a directory listing where people actually pick up the phone and they call because they want a plumber in some small town in Mumbai, and it's a paid service like you would use Google, not understanding actually how powerful that model was in India. So it really is understanding kind of where customers are getting the most value and incorporating those solutions to just overall create a more holistic experience for that customer.
Great.
So cloud industry in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
Very strong public cloud providers. I don't want to say dominating, but very strong. But still plenty of room for people who specialize, who take local markets and the customer in the end seriously and provide what exactly they need.
Excellent.
Well, in my opinion, in 5 years, the market will getting more specialized. We are serving mostly web developers, and the second one is the SMB. So the SMB always want something. I mean, the SMB end users, of course, they want everything to become easier and easier. So that's why a solution like Weebly or any web building solution is become more popular. And then for the developer segment, the more specific one like WordPress hosting or developers friendly environment hosting, that could be something. Yeah.
Very useful. Okay. So we're nearing the end of our time. So what I'd like to do is, people here came to hear insights from everybody, and you guys were gracious enough to share your thoughts about the industry. I'd like to close by seeing if I can get everybody to share your top recommendation and or lesson. The thing that the people in this audience who also want to grow their hosting or cloud businesses should most consider when they leave the room today. And why don't we go the other way this time and start with Jonas.
So I didn't understand your question
Okay.
100%.
Okay,
yeah.
so It is your closing comments to the audience. They want to grow their businesses. What's the best, in 2018, what's their best way to do it?
Well, it depends on what kind of industry and a specific thing and a specific country and so on you're on. But I think, like Andreas already told, really listen to your customers, listen to what their needs are. I think better focus on the things you're very good at it, because I see a lot of hosting companies just doing everything. And this is absolutely not profitable. So you have to focus on things that you're really good at it.
Great, thank you. We'll go quickly down the line.
Would like to add to focus more on the segment that we are choosing, do our best, and of course always remember that it's not technology that drive change of the cloud, but what really drive the change of the cloud is customer demand.
I'll make the point again and I'll build on what you said. Take it one step further, sit in your call center, be out there with your salespeople and really talk to your customer and listen. Don't try to sell your product, don't try to show how good your product is, listen to your customer. And if you sit in your call center and listen for a day to what kind of issues they have and why they call in, that's more educating than any panel you can listen to here, even though the panel is great.
Great.
Totally agree. I think that is not thinking about web hosting only. It's about multi-purpose and multi-platform way to engage the clients of our clients, how to manage it better, how to deliver this kind of service, not only based on web, but also on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram, and etc. So basically, it's think widely than just web hosting.
So I agree with everybody here. I'll just add, so listen to your customer, constantly innovate. Don't be afraid to evolve, because it's inevitable. Don't get stuck in your ways. A lot of hosting companies tend to do that, and I think that ultimately we have to sort of continuously rethink who we are and what we represent to our customers.
Fantastic. I hope that you take these insights to heart. I hope you have enjoyed our panel and this day in the .com main forum. Thank you for your time today, and thanks to our panel.